After all those years of speculating who would take the mantle from Clayton Kershaw, the Dodgers are telling us it could be Tyler Glasnow. The Clippers are winning many games and fussing every single step of the way, and I want to give you reasons to be optimistic that the Lakers can make a run after the All-Star break. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. And it is February 17th, 2024. I am back in Ice Station Alpha in St. Loser, Missouri for work. I'd be safe and warm if I was in LA, but I'm not, and it sucks for me. But do you like being in the know about LA? Well, if you do, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. You guys know this. Regular viewers, I do try to get back in touch with you. You don't even have to pay to comment. I'm not going to give you some Patreon account. By the way, before we go through the news and notes, let's look at the scoreboard. There were no games involving LA teams yesterday, but today, the Kings are at Boston. Super duper early. If you are hungover and up by 9:30 a.m., by all means partake. The Bruins are on a 3-game losing streak. And many hours later, Colorado will be playing at USC at 7 o'clock. But what do you say we get to the news? I have to admit, I was a wee bit surprised when I was reading the LA Times. The Dodgers want Tyler Glasnow to be their ace. Take a moment and think. All those years that we've been watching the greatness of Clayton Kershaw. How many years he was the unquestioned ace. And then after a while, when his body started to break down, we were asking ourselves, wait, this can't go on forever. Who the hell's going to replace Clayton Kershaw, a surefire Hall of Famer? And for a while, we were assuming, well, maybe it's going to be Walker Buehler. And then we started to talk a little bit about maybe it's going to be Julio Urias. And then the LAPD also wanted to talk a little bit to Julio Urias. So you could strike that one off the list. The Dodgers went out, they knew they had to upgrade their rotation, and they make this trade with Tampa Bay for Glasnow. They sent Ryan Pepio back east for him. But even then, we hadn't talked about Glasnow as an ace, even though the Dodgers are. And there's a reason we weren't thinking of him as an ace. Health. The man has only pitched more than 100 innings in a season twice. He's never been to an All-Star game as a result of it. So for all the talk about the electric stuff and the velocity and this, that, and the other, no, I didn't think of him as an ace. But Andrew Friedman would actually very much like to see him as an ace. Quote, "We feel like he is going to hold up and he is going to be a big part of what we do," unquote. So how does that happen? What do the Dodgers know that nobody else does? Now, I'm not saying this is accurate, but I'm going to throw it out there because what pitching coach Mark Pryor has been doing has been adjusting Glasnow's mechanics. Glasnow is 6'8". Now, when you think of super tall pitchers needing to adjust the mechanics, you think of players like Randy Johnson. You know, wild as a youngster, and then once everything got honed in, everything was just laser beams right over the plate. But apparently these adjustments to Glasnow's mechanics are not because he can't pitch. It's to possibly keep him on the mound where he can continue to be effective. Now, we mentioned earlier about Buehler, who's had the 2 Tommy John surgeries. We've unfortunately mentioned Julio Urias. We need not go into depth about that. But you might be asking yourself, wait a second, what about Yoshinobu Yamamoto? The free agent that was signed from Japan, who's probably, if my memory is correct, is even getting more money than Glasnow. Why isn't he the ace? Fair question. Here's the answer. It's because when you're a starting pitcher in Japan, you only pitch once a week. Doesn't matter what the schedule is. You're not pitching twice, which is expected in the United States. So the Dodgers believe that they need to build up Yamamoto's endurance before they even think about possibly having him become an ace. There you are. The Dodgers farm system is getting knocked by some outlets. And what we want to do here, we don't just sit there and say, you should believe Baseball America or you should believe MLB.com or whatever. I want to paint the Dodgers farm system with these really wide strokes because we just simply deduce our own opinions from that, right? I'm not saying I'm right about everything. So I'd rather give you as much information as possible and you can draw your own conclusions. So, CBSSports.com is next up. They didn't rank the Dodgers system, but they did rank the Dodgers' top 3 prospects. And it's a little different from the other ones that I've given you so far this spring training. They believe Dalton Rushing is the Dodgers' best prospect, who should make his major league debut early next year. He's an offensive-minded catcher. We already knew that. What we might not have known is that the reason that he wasn't getting the results he was getting in prior years is he's too focused on pulling the ball, not going to the entire field. They also thought that pitcher Nick Frasso would debut this season. That's not happening now. His year's done. Frasso had surgery to his shoulder. So then you skip and you go, okay, James, who's third best? That would be catcher Theron Lorenzo. The problem with that, though, aside from being a second catcher, is he's 2 years away at least from getting to the big leagues. So, again, I'm not sure the Dodgers have the farm system that they're used to having. That might be more proof positive, or in this case, negative. Clippers coach Tyronn Lue claimed that the refs were cheating on a hot mic while his team was actually beating Golden State on Wednesday night. So, saying something like that on a hot mic comes with a $35,000 price tag. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm genuinely surprised it's that cheap, because all the things he said on camera, calling the refs cheaters was probably the least problematic. Ty Lue is recorded on a live mic as saying he wanted to kick a ref in the mouth. That's not exactly going to build bridges between aggrieved parties, right? Now, speaking of aggrieved parties, Paul George tried to rebuild things with Clippers teammates PJ Tucker and Bones Highland, both of which were sent home because they were sick and tired of not being able to play. They want to get on the court, and so they started complaining about it. Quote from George, "These guys are still part of us. I thought that they handled it like men. Grown men came together, spoke their piece, and we moved on. Everything is positive here." Do you even buy that? Do you? I thought they handled it like men? Really? They came together, spoke their piece, and moved on. They were sent home. Granted, I don't know too many people who want to spend much time in Utah or wherever the hell else the Clippers spent the last week. They were sent home. From Golden State, I should say. Do you really think that the Clippers players handled it like men? Or that Tyronn Lue was just like, I've had enough of your S, and just put him on the next Southwest flight home? Just saying. Just saying. The Lakers can make a run after the All-Star break. Now look, LA is a Lakers town. We all know that. And because it's a Lakers town, there are legions of Laker homers on like sports talk radio and this, that, and the other. I totally get it. So I'm not trying to sell you hopium, but I can give you 3 legit reasons why the Lakers can make a run. First, 7 of their next 10 games are at home. That's a very good idea It's a good idea to make a run there. Second reason, Cam Reddish and Max Christie can be activated pretty much after the break, maybe immediately. Now, the third reason is admittedly iffy, okay? They demanded more from Rui Hachimura, if you recall, at the beginning of the week. And then he came out and he dropped 36 on the Utah Jazz. I'm not suggesting to you that Hachimura is going to average 36 a night. That's insane. But if they could get something positive out of him on a consistent basis, yeah, I could easily see the Lakers make a run. He's a starter now that Jared Vanderbilt is out. Vanderbilt wasn't an offensive option before. He was just pure energy, pure defense. Vanderbilt was the guy who filled in all the defensive needs that Anthony Davis couldn't get to. But if you put Hachimura in Vanderbilt's place at the 3, maybe he doesn't do everything that Vanderbilt could do defensively, but he does make the Lakers more physical, which is going to matter come playoff time. And in addition to that, like I said, you don't have to average 36 points a game, but if you can get yourself double figures a game, that's going to be probably more than what Vanderbilt could contribute. And that makes the Lakers overall a better offensive threat. And with the exception of perimeter defense, because again, Hachimura is not playing the perimeter, Vanderbilt would. Yeah, I think it would make him a physical threat on defense as well. I have long maintained that I have a love-hate relationship with the website Turf Show Times. The hate because they kept trying to run Matthew Stafford out of town. Kind of insane. Very idiotic take about that. And there's a lot of idiotic takes out about the Rams. The Rams front office and coaching staff, though, they deserve praise for their candor. But going into this offseason, the website Turf Show Times is suggesting that the Rams could clear over $100 million in cap space. Now, they tapped the brakes on that after they wrote it. They said, wait a second, $100 million? Possible, but very silly. It's not going to happen. But the Rams could become major players in free agency with the right decisions. Right now, they have about $27.7 million in cap space. But if you cut both offensive linemen Joe Noteboom and Brian Allen, you would get more. Lots more. Quite a few million. Then, theoretically, you could ask Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford to restructure their contracts. You do that, you could get as many as $29 million more. So now you've gone from $27.7 million to probably easily over $60 million in space. And then, theoretically, if you talk Aaron Donald into an extension, yeah, even more. Now that doesn't get you to $100 million, but $70 million in cap space, 60 to 70, you become a major player in free agency. So the Rams, and these are not predictions, but the Rams make 5 player moves. They can go from good cap shape to major players in free agency. The 5 moves: cutting Noteboom, cutting Allen, restructuring Kupp, restructuring Stafford, and the 5th, chatting things up a bit with Aaron Donald. Multiple outlets yesterday described what the Chargers have to do next in the offseason. Now, ESPN told us what we already knew. Thanks a lot. The running game sucks. Upgrade the offensive line and the secondary. We know. So the next time there are layoffs at ESPN, don't feel bad because they're only telling you crap you already know. But what I will say is that I learned a couple of things about the Chargers yesterday. One, how important is establishing the run? The last time the Bolts were a top 10 rushing team, they were still in San Diego, and LaDainian Tomlinson was the leading ball carrier. It was back in 2007. So the Chargers haven't treated running as a serious part of the offense in over a decade and a half. So the Athletic came out, and what they suggested for the Bolts to get a big rebound would be one on each side, one defense and one offense. They believe that Derwin James is primed for a big rebound because former Chargers coach Brandon Staley asked him to do too much from the safety position. Another prediction is that guard Zion Johnson will embrace the physical nature of being on a Harbaugh coach team. Those two things happen. Those two individual players make that jump. The Chargers actually become much more dangerous if that happens. The Galaxy have completed a complete rebuild of its top line. They have officially added Ghanaian winger Joseph Pantsil from Genk FC in Belgium. We've been talking about that for weeks. We'll probably go into more depth about it with a Galaxy season preview. Christian Ori, a shooting guard from Harvard Westlake, has committed to play for UCLA as part of the class of 2024. Now, does the name Ori sound familiar? Because it should. His dad is a 7-time world champion, Robert Ori, Big Shot Bob, as he was known with the Lakers. Now, to be clear, Ori will just be a walk-on, but he is trying to pick up a career by staying local with the Bruins. You let me know, though, what you think in the comments thread. Is Tyler Glasnow ace material for the Dodgers? Are the Clippers fussing a little bit too much for where they are in the standings? And can the Lakers make a run in the second half? If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.